My tiny whoops grooving like a funky jam. I dip through the doorway, spin by the cab, bounce off the toaster, yeah, I meant to do that. Neighbors knocking, saying, what's that sound? It's my brush motor soul train getting down. Flying through the curtain, dancing on breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic, bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop it all. I got LED strobes and a shag rug trail. I'm looping through the lava lamp, leaving a tail. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got soul. I'm the pilot of the party. On a roll, TV remotes a gate, the lamps are diving, flying like it's 7.5. No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad in a soul train frame. Move it low, we fly that flow. Grab that gap, no time to nap. No time to nap. Hit that roll, funk and control. Bounce that wall, we fly it all. We fly it all. Tiny whoop love, funky and free. We fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My quad's got soul, it's got style, it's got sass. It dips through the incense like a blast from the past. I'm flying figure eights through the lava lamp glow, dodging house plants like a funky pro. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got heat. I'm the pilot of the party with the grooviest beat. I loop through the hallway, I dive by the broom. I'm the disco ghost in your living room. I hit that split that's over grandma's chair. She just claps and says, boy, you got flair. I'm flying freestyle with a velvet touch. My quad so smooth it don't need a clutch. From the shag rug to the ceiling fan, I'm the funky little fly with a master plan. The curtains dancing on the breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop at all. Can't stop at all. Can't stop at all.
What's up, friends? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Monday Q&A. I've got Kevin Sumner as the voice of God tonight again.
Hello.
You were just watching my frame with O4 Lite. I didn't even realize that I never got this set up. I did this build on a stream a couple weeks ago, and I put it aside and kind of forgot about it, if I'm honest. I was more durability testing the analog one that I built to try to break the thing. I built this one to make sure that there's no like weird frame or arm resonances that'll cause the O4 or just like any digital video system to go bananas. I built this guy with the Spinny Boy motors from Oddity RC. They are 1405, 4800 kV. You can only get them from Oddity RC's website, which is kind of annoying. But they really impressed me. Great power. They're a very notchy motor. Like if you look, like really coggy. But the new filtering that we've got, RPM filtering, it's seems to have taken the whole coggy motors, make lots of jello thing and told it to go to hell. Because, yeah, there was no jello, there was no nonsense, and I was flying it in, like, bright middle of the day sunshine. So, yeah, that was super fun. This thing performed really well. Lots of power. Big adjustment. Man, like, you know, I built a couple of these 2-inch lightweight setups, and these are very different from a prop guarded 2S 1.6 inch or even 2-inch setup. But like they're not that much different. You then blow it up to something like this that's like 200 grams all up. And even though it's a bigger area and there's bigger props and whatnot, this is like this is approaching like 5-inch levels of slidiness and throw. And I'm just not used to that, you know. I fly a lot of time, especially right now with it being so cold. It's like all tiny whooping all the time. So this is a massive adjustment. So if I looked a little bit awkward in that flying, that's what's going on. I'm just trying to adjust to it. But flies really good. I probably won't bash this one a lot. It does have the 4-bolt arms, even though I'm only using 3 bolts. So these are the stronger arms. The analog one that I built that I've been abusing is the weaker but slightly lighter arms with only 3 bolt holes. I hammered this thing into curbs by accident twice today at easily 30-40 miles an hour, and like I can barely I delaminated the carbon a little bit here, but like other than that, I mean the props are absolutely wrecked from those 2 big hits. There was a bunch of smaller hits. But other than that, like, it's fine. I don't know what I'm going to have to do to this thing to break it. I'm going to keep pounding on it until it does break. I think I might have just lost my earbud. Kevin, can you talk real quick?
Buddy.
No, I didn't lose my earbud. That was weird. That was a strange sound the computer just played. Yeah, I'm going to keep pounding on this until I do break something. And then these are going to get made. I'm really blown away at how strong this is already. I'm tempted to just like figure out how to get these made, but it makes sense to just keep going until I do manage to break something. So yeah, that's sort of the plan. More abuse, more batteries, more slamming, and then I would really like to break an arm. I would really love to see where the arms break. And then maybe beef it up a little bit. But I don't think so. I don't think the frame's going to get changed at this point. Like, I feel like I'm just going to break it for the sake of breaking it, which sounds kind of silly. But I need to see where it's going to break. So, yeah. But, again, the intro was this guy. It's the other difference with this one is this is the split base plate version. So you've got the front part of the base plate and then the rear part of the base plate. The front standoffs are 20 millimeter. The rear standoffs are 15 millimeter. You can also run 23 in the back, 28 in the front. If you've got like some giant camera like the RunCam Hybrid, you could do 25 in the front, 20 in the back. Or you could do, I think you can get 18 millimeter standoffs. So you could do 18 in the back, 23 in the front. So a lot of different options with the split base plate version. The one that I've been hammering on is the solid base plate version, the first one that we made. When I sell this, I think I'm going to sell it with both base plate setups. Because it's only like one extra piece of carbon. The main idea for this was the split base plate, but there are, you know, sometimes the solid base plate's kind of cool. And if you have 2 base plates, it's definitely going to come with a couple of extra arms. So a couple of extra arms and an extra base plate. The only thing that you can break and be screwed is going to be the top plate. And, you know, I'll have some extras of those. But, yeah, that should be pretty cool. This analog one is on a 20 by 20 stack. It's set up for that. This O4 one is on 25 by 25. It's got the Tune RC Poly F405 AIO and then the O4 Lite on top, and still on the slammed 15-20 kind of setup. So lots of different build options. But that's not what we're doing tonight. Tonight we're doing plugs versus no plugs. I've got these 2 builds that are very similarly set up. And it's just like, I've been doing a bunch of testing, and it just happened to line up where by doing the testing in a certain order over the last couple of live streams, I ended up with these two big builds on the exact same motors, same frame, both on BriBrain 15-degree mounts. What we've got here is a 2G4, Happy Model 2G4, with a B-Brain camera on a BriBrain 15-degree mount, super lightweight little antenna, VCI 0702 30,000 kV light motors, the ones with the bushings, Newbie Drone Cockroach V3 frame, and then HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 propellers. And then this build is the G473 AIO direct. So the 2G4 is a plug-based AIO. You could remove the plugs and direct solder to it, but boy, would that suck. The pads that the plugs hook up to are really, really small. So like the 2G4 is not a good AIO to direct solder to, which is good because the 2G4 is super durable. And like, with your super durable basher rig, you're going to want motors that are easy to swap out, like, because direct soldering motors on a basher rig over and over and over again is going to get old really quick. So the 2G4 remains to be like perfect in so many ways. The G473, the new AIO for the Mobula 6 2024, is direct solder only. And so we've got the exact same motors, the same props, the same frame, different camera, CO3 camera. It weighs almost the same as the BI. Same 15-degree BriBrain mount, same itty-bitty little antenna. And so the weight difference between these two is basically the weight difference between the 2G4 and the G473. With those two AIOs come motor plugs versus no motor plugs, right? One AIO is specifically set up for no motor plugs. The Crazy G build is 17.1 grams. The 2G4 build is 17.8 grams. That is a little bit of that weight difference. Is the BI camera is a little bit bigger than the CO3, but boy, are they close. The main weight difference is that the Crazy G473 is a little bit lighter of an AIO, and we don't have any motor plugs. So this is about as close of a representation as I can get. I mean, if I really wanted to go bananas, I could probably find an AIO that has pads that are realistically big enough to solder to, and pads that work with the motor plugs. But I ain't made of money here, folks. I can't just go buying, two of the same AIO. This is about as close as I'm realistically going to get to it. I do like that the no plug setup is lighter weight, because it's going to be lighter weight. If you remove the motor plugs from the board and from the motors themselves, you're going to save weight. You're not going to save quite this much weight, but this should be a pretty good representation. We're going to take a look at what kind of RPM these pull at full throttle. We're going to take a look at runtime. We're going to take a look at runtime with the ending battery voltage. And then we can even hook them up to a solid 4-volt power source and spin them up and see if there's any difference there. I don't think there... Well, we'll see. We'll see. So yeah, we will... dive into that to take a look at the performance difference of plugs versus no plugs. As we always talk about, I'm a huge fan, and I will always probably be a fan of the motor plugs, just from a maintenance standpoint. The ability to unplug a motor, remove 3 screws, slap another motor on, screw it down, plug it in. To me, it like almost encourages you to replace your motors more frequently. But B, it doesn't get you into this situation where like you're not replacing motors because it's super annoying to pull everything apart and then like having to disassemble this entire thing over and over and over again to swap motors. You're going to start to strip stuff out. You know, the frames are plastic, so you've got metal screws going into plastic on the four posts, and then the stator bases of the motors are like really, really thin. And so, you know, having a direct soldered setup that you fly hard and that you actually change motors out pretty often on, it's going to drive you crazy eventually. And like, you know, this is one of the reasons that I don't fly outside a lot anymore. Like, especially 5-inch stuff. Like, it's just, you go and you fly 10, 15 batteries, and like almost no matter what, you've got to come home and sit at the workbench for a couple of hours fixing all the shit that you completely destroyed. One of the magical things about Tiny Whoop is how durable they are. If you do them right, like if you have them set up correctly, you can fly 100 batteries and not fix anything. Obviously, it depends on how you fly, how hard you crash, stuff like that, what you crash into. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, a Tiny Whoop that has been built with durability and reliability in mind is going to be so much more durable than like kind of anything that you're going to fly outside. If you're flying hard, you know, like what commonly gets missed here is that like if you go fly out, if your version of flying outside is going to a big grass park and crashing once every 100 batteries, well, yeah, okay, you're you're not gonna have to do many repairs other than when electronics just implode for no reason. We're talking about flying hard here. We're talking about going to parking lots. We're talking about going to like bandos, you know, office parks, stuff like that, and banging these things into the concrete, into light poles, into trees. And a lot of stuff breaks when you do that. And then, you know, you got to come home and put all that bench time in. So that is one of the biggest, you know, like this stream is plugs versus no plugs. And that right there, like just that one first thing will have me flying plug-based stuff kind of forever. Especially now that we've got this Stabilant 22 that we're going to be testing here, which should give us a little bit less loss. I haven't had a chance to get... I got to find 99% ISO to mix this with before I can actually use it. But I like doing this test without that because like there's a lot of people that aren't going to be willing to spend $50 on a tube of this. I am going to try to make the Stabilant 22 a lot less expensive and available on my Etsy store. Once I've tested it, once I get some 99% ISO. But yeah, I want to do this test like just as it is, not having to go through any weird stuff to get this contact enhancer and like paint it onto the motor plugs and all that jazz. Like we're doing this test out of the box, which I think is kind of the right way to do it. Kevin, where do you stand on plugs versus no plugs?
You know, I do plugs, but a thought occurred to me as you were just talking, because I also prefer the convenience of being able to swap plugs. If the motors did not come with plugs on them by default, would you take the time to swap them over, or would you just solder them to the board and go?
That's a good question. I mean, it's so the same amount of work. I would probably direct solder them because the same amount of work. It's the same amount of work to direct solder them to the AIO as it is to solder. Well, not quite. It's sort of the same amount of work to solder on a set of motor wires that have the plugs, right? But having to take the entire build apart over and over and over again would be kind of insane.
For me, it's the ongoing cost. Yeah, like if I stop breaking Tiny Whoop motors, I roll. Then I think I would prefer soldering, especially with the boards now that come with the pins in the package and not pre-soldered to the board. Yeah, although I have gone soldered before and it was annoying, but you know, like we're finding out because we're finding out that soldered is better performance. Like maybe I just bite the bullet and go to it. Maybe I cross to the dark side.
Well, yeah, where I've sort of ended up is that I love having one build that's direct soldered and then another build that's on plugs. And so it's like you've got one build that's more efficient and that gives you that, like, you know, direct soldered, more efficient and more power, as we're going to see tonight. But then, like, if you want to just hammer the living hell out of something, you've got the setup that's on plugs. What really kills me is that, like, when you have the build that's direct soldered and you start banging motors up, you stop flying hard. And like, and that's it. And it's not like on purpose. It's something that's going to like kind of subconsciously happen. Right. Like, and not only that, but you're going to just keep flying it. You're going to have that motor that starts to get banged up and you're going to be like, I'm not tearing this thing down for the 14th time. This happened to me with flying outside. It was like, I want to fly really hard. I want to like push the absolute limits. But when I do that, everything implodes all the time. And all I do is fix stuff. And so it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to fly as hard. Well, when you don't fly as hard, you don't get as good and you don't have as much fun. And so you end up with this like constant balancing act. And like when, and then, you know, a couple of years ago, the Whoop stuff started getting good. And it's like, oh my God, I can crash these things constantly and they just don't break. And then it's like, wow, I can like really push myself. And that's what helps you get good. And so like there's a bunch of stuff kind of going on behind the scenes there, which I find super interesting. Hold on, Kevin, I got to send you my OBS window. I forgot to do that.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah.
While I do this?
I think I've just decided that I've been on plugs long enough that it's time for me to bite the bullet and go to soldered and try it, see how frustrated I get with it, and whether it sticks.
See that one of the things is it's subtle.
Oh yeah,
like it's a super subtle thing, which is why I try to like scream it from the rooftops. Why is that? For the last like 5 or 6 Mondays we've done this, and every single time I can't figure out how to send you my OBS window. Do I have to click through your? Is it here?
No,
but then as soon as I say this out loud,
kind of mouse over, yeah, or in the lower left-hand corner, there's a screen with a share arrow in it. You click that, and then it does the thing.
Live stream. It's because I have to click into live stream on air. That's the thing that I.
For all the people watching at home, if I don't see Ciotti, if I don't have his OBS window shared, I get to see him 30 seconds or whatever delayed on the front through YouTube, and it just makes it very difficult to follow the conversation.
I just shared my screen and showed them what I have to do. All right, we got it now.
Thank you, sir.
Now we're good. Cool. Yeah, it's just take my word for it, friends. It is something that'll sneak up on you. You'll notice that you're not flying as well. Look, here's the thing though. A lot of people don't push as hard and don't crash as often. And so for a lot of people, it won't actually make a difference, and direct soldering is kind of the way to go. This is for the folks that like want to get good, want to push themselves hard. They're willing to crash all the time. Teddy, what are you doing? That's where that's where you'll start to kind of notice it. But again, it is subtle. Like it's something that'll sneak up on you. You start direct soldering and you're like, ooh, more runtime, more power. That's cool. And then it's just like, oh, well, this motor's all right. This motor's like, you know, it's a little noisy, but it'll be fine. And that's the moment there. It's like it's fine. I'll say, and you justify it, right? You're like, well, I'll save the $10. I'll just keep running this motor. Like, oh, I can back the PID tune down a little bit. And you're like, oh, it flies like shit now. It's fine. Nobody cares. Like, and you just stack these excuses up versus, you know, when you buy 4 motors, you buy 8 motors and you have a bunch of extras. And like, as soon as a motor starts to get banged up and you got to back that PID tune off, you don't back the tune off. You just swap the motor out. You keep the other motor, put it back in the box, put a mark on it. And then you wait until another one gets banged up. You switch that one out. And then so like you've got these 4 fresh motors to have like the rockin' tune and the build that's just awesome. And so that lasts you a while, and then you have a box of like kind of banged up motors. You either throw them out at that point and get another fresh set, or you can start kind of, okay, now I'll finally back the tune off. You back the tune off a little bit. You completely grenade one of the motors, and then you've got this little box with 4 like not super fresh, kind of banged up motors. You put one on, and so like you can create a nice little sort of thing there. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm super curious to see how much extra RPM that we do get. I've never done it like straight. Like I have had a motor plug set up that I then move those exact motors over to an AI. This happened with the Weebly 40,000s. They were on motor plugs on a 2G4. And then I moved them over to a Super X Mobile 6 2024 version 1 that was direct solder only. But that's a different AIO. It's a much lighter weight AIO. And so like there were a bunch of variables. This is really cool. I've never had 2 rigs this similar with the exact same motors, direct versus plug. So this should be pretty cool. I've got 6 batteries on the charger. These are my, they're actually all ready to go. These are my Weebly BT 2.0s. They're all... they all have gold marker here, which means that I got these all at the same time, which means that these have all been cycled the exact same number of times. So should be a pretty even playing field. We'll do 3 batteries and 3 batteries just like we've been doing lately. I'll log it all into a sticky note. We'll take a look at it. It should be obvious. I have a feeling it'll be obvious. But like that also begs the question, like, who cares? Do we really need extra power? Like, there are so many motors that make so much power now. You can easily have a plug-based motor that makes all the power you need. Do you really need the extra 20 seconds of runtime? Like, just buy an extra set of batteries, right? Fly for 18 minutes instead of 20 minutes. It's everybody has to make the decision for themselves. I'm admittedly biased towards the motor plugs, but just like racers, like top level racers that are competing to win, unquestionably do everything that you possibly can for performance. Those of us that don't race and kind of fly for fun, or even like working stiffs like me that are flying gigs, like serviceability is a big thing, right? Like if I go out to fly a gig, like would it be nice to have a little bit more runtime if I was in a scenario where that mattered, which it doesn't. I don't fly tiny whoops on set. But like if it was, but the trade-off was serviceability, I'll actually take serviceability. I'll buy a couple extra batteries for something that God forbid goes down. I can service easier, right? And so that one of the things that I do when I work one-on-one with somebody through the Fiverr calls, or just contact me and we get it scheduled. One of the things that I talk about when we do a build planning session is like the priority list. Like, where are your priorities? Is durability the biggest priority? Is serviceability the second biggest? The first biggest, right? Like, and I ask a bunch of questions to kind of figure that out. But like, that's really important. And like, each one of us has to have that clear. Doesn't have to, but you should have that. You should think about that. Think about flight performance. Think about what you're doing with your footage. Like, right, like all these things, you should have them somewhat defined in your mind for what's the most important and what's the least important, because that is how you're gonna make these decisions. I try my best to, like, long form content here is my opportunity to like educate you all of these things so that you can figure that out. But you need to have that in your mind, right? This is why, like, when somebody just says like, hey, what's the best X, there is none, right? Like, how many times have I said, like, there is no best, there's just different. And like, let's talk about how it's different, because each one of you is going to have something that is the best for you. Maybe it's the most serviceable. Maybe it makes the most power. Maybe it's the most efficient. Like, that's up to all of you to kind of figure out. And yeah, that's why long form media is the jam, and short form content is a nightmare that will kill us all. Might not kill us all, but it makes all of our lives worse. I swear. Just trust me, it does. So yeah, in the chat, You Can FPV was first, Spaceman Swift was next, Matthew Wegner, Capital C, FizzPV, GiddyBotch, Jimmy the Cow, Level Up, Jeremy Flies, TAA Token, Uriel, Jimmy the Cow, Frank Nicholas, Rays, Kevin Sumner, of course, Hey Ryan, Jimmy the Cow, Level Up, Cronut, CCAD Ryan, Dadars, Hendrix Freakazoid. I haven't seen you in a while, Hendrix. Hope you're doing well. Double A, AMA, FPV. A bit of a name change from Double A. I dig it. Tanky, Phil Bradley, Stefan FPV. Is that 00Z or is it Ooze? Tag me and let me know. I'm curious.
I'm gonna go with Uzi.
Oh, Uzi. Zay? Uze? Spell it out phonetically for us. We need to know. Izzy Boops in the house. Smirk Station. Jimmy the Cow again. Did I get everybody? McMucus. Why? What? Stop playing. What is that? Is that your computer playing those noises, Kevin? Boop, 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 boom. Was that you?
No.
Oh, no. That was my earpiece going dead, wasn't it?
Yep, it is.
Oh, fart bag bastards. Hold on.
Switch them out.
I think I forgot to charge this little guy. But you guys are now getting the wrong mic. I need to fix that real quick. Yes. Hang on. Sound settings and input. Microphone. There we go. All right, that's better.
And we're
Let's
back.
see how long this one lasts. Let me actually plug this in while I'm waiting. Well, not while I'm waiting. While we're using this, can you plug in, please? What? What's happening? What? Oh my God, it's lightning. Wow, lightning plugs look a lot like USB-C when you're an old person.
That may or may not be a coincidence, you know, because Apple helped design the USB-C spec right after or as they were releasing the lightning spec.
Jerks. Jimmy the Cow says loud. Yeah, sorry. It should be better now, right? My levels are fine on here. We should be good. All right. In the chat, type at CiottiFPV to talk to me. If I forgot to get you in the chat, I'll get you next time, I promise. Jimmy the Cow tagged me and said moo. Uriel says read mail. What mail? Rays says what's up, fam? Jimmy the Cow says the soldered motors logically pull more current, but the ease of motor swap with plugs is almost worth the performance loss. I think it is. I've been down this plugs versus direct soldered road for years, literally years, and every single time that I have a build that is direct soldered, it's like, ooh, a little bit more power, a little bit more runtime, and then as soon as the motors start getting banged up, it's just like, oh, right. And so, but hey, look, that's just me, right? I fly really hard. I crash all the time. I crash hard. You all have to make that decision for yourselves. What I don't like is how many people say, oh, you're on solder plugs, you're an idiot. You have to, like, there's this, and it's a lot of the racing crowd, and, you know, sure, for them, yeah, absolutely. Maybe. Like, it's, you know, there's this, I feel like I'm the only one that says, like, yo, seriously consider motor plugs. It feels like everybody is just like, oh, direct solder your motors or you're a moron. And it's just, that's not the case at all. Like, there's a really good case for sticking with the motor plugs. And at times I feel like I'm the only one screaming into the ether about it. But, you know, that's okay. I feel like that with a lot of things in my life. Level Up says, does the contact enhancer work? According to other folks that have been trying it out, yes, it does work. Basically, metal is not perfectly smooth. Metal has little pits and peaks and valleys in it. And so you take two pieces of metal that aren't perfectly smooth and you push them together, right? A plug in a hole. and you don't get like full contact when there's a little valley and there's another little valley on the other piece of metal. You get no contact here. The contact enhancer fills that in, very similar to thermal paste. The same reason that we use thermal paste to transfer heat is that the thermal paste makes the two pieces of metal, gives them more of a contact patch. And so it's the same kind of thing. Unfortunately, it's very, very expensive. This little tube of Stabilant 22 was $50. You do dilute it. I've got to get my hands on some 99% ISO, and then I'll be able to dilute it into this, and then I'm going to try it, see if it makes a significant enough difference. If it does, I'm going to try to get a bunch of itty-bitty little containers like this and see how many little containers I can fill from the properly diluted version, and then I'm going to put them up in the Etsy store so that you guys don't have to spend $50 on it. Because
where can the people find the Etsy store?
Thank you. Over on CiottiFPV.com, there's links to all the different ways that you can support me. The Etsy store is one of them. I just added a couple things today. Yeah, lots of good stuff going over there. Join my Patreon. That's the best way that you can support me. Use my affiliate links. Change your bookmarks over to my affiliate links. If you don't use bookmarks and you just start typing like Amazon and your URL bar completes it, remove your like regular old Amazon.com suggestion. Hit my Amazon affiliate link a couple times, and then your browser will think like when you start typing Amazon, you actually want to go to the Nut Grabber, which is my affiliate link. Do one of those per live stream, and before you know it, you'll be supporting people that make stuff that you can watch here on YouTube for free without even thinking about it, without even having to remember. It took me literally years to remember to use my own affiliate links. It's insane. So I can't expect anybody else to remember, because and I still forget sometimes. But yeah, there's a couple of ways that you can use. If you don't use my affiliate links, use somebody else's, right? Like, it's tough to make a living putting out content on a space here that like is free, right? YouTube doesn't pay us jack shit. And so support the people by using the affiliate links in ways that you don't have to try to remember. There's an Etsy store, like I said. There's a Teespring shop where you can get t-shirts. There's nothing cooler than seeing somebody wearing one of your t-shirts. So if you don't have a lot of FPV t-shirts, I got you covered. I got some cool designs over there. And I've got a Fiverr shop as well where you can work one-on-one with me. If you want to learn a lot really fast, that's how you do it. Jimmy, wait, no. Oh, wait, there we go. Uriel says, CiottiFPV and Kevin, can I be the voice of Uriel? You already are the voice of Uriel. Jimmy the Cow says, shut up and take my money. Sell me your new frame, please. Moo. Soon. Double Oze says, ooh, that kind of works. I got a Flywoo Firefly18 with the smallest battery possible. Do you have any tips to cut weight? She's obese. Cutting weight is tough, because more often than not, when you cut weight, you lose durability. And so, yeah, I mean, like, cutting weight, the way that I usually cut weight, this seems kind of dumb, but just stick with me here, is like, I'll just like look at it. I'll literally just like sit here and just look at it, and I'll look at the camera and be like, what's that camera weigh? And then I'll look at the mount, like, what's that mount weigh? And then I'll look at the frame, right? Like, so you just like look at each individual piece, and you're like, okay, is there a lighter version of that? Is that going to kill durability, right? Is that going to cause some other weird thing? And so you just go like one by one by one, and you just like realistically think, like, is it worth it to go with a lighter weight propeller that's going to be less durable? And then, like, you pick one or two things, you buy the lighter weight version, you run them, you see if they hold up or not. You be realistic with yourself. Like, is this annoyingly fragile now, or am I willing to spend more time fixing it? Lately, I have a tendency to not worry so much about that, and like, if the power to weight ratio is not right, I'll put more pitchy propellers on, or higher kV motors, or right, like a lot of times a build is going to weigh what it weighs. And so instead of like focusing on making it lighter, I'll focus on making more power so that it has the right power to weight ratio within reason. Like a tiny whoop that's an analog tiny whoop that's 20 grams dry, that's too heavy. But in that case, like I'm going to look at it and be like, well, there's a frame that's lighter and is still really durable. There's a camera mount that's lighter that is still really durable, right? Like, you don't typically get into this world of it's becoming too fragile until it's already lightweight and you're trying to make it like crazy lightweight, right? With tiny whoops, this is like 17 to 18 grams dry. You can build those and have them be really durable. A lot of times when you go down to 16 point something grams dry, you're going to have to sacrifice durability. Yes, when they get lighter, they don't hit as hard during crashes, but like you're going to lose durability by going down below 17 grams in most cases. So yeah, it's there's one way to think about it. Add power instead of cutting weight. But it depends. It totally depends. If the setup has like a needlessly heavy frame, get that out of there, right? Like, you got to look for the things that are not the weight penalty does not equal the amount of extra durability you're getting, right? Like, there's got to be a balance there. Daters says, what race wire would you use for a 3.5-inch drone 4S? I like the LED race wires. Tiny sleds, which is actually Tiny's LEDs, but when you look at the URL, it ends up spelling tiny sleds.
I just imagine somebody with like a kid with the old school like wooden sled on the run on the metal runners, but then just lit all to hell with LEDs running going down the hill, down a snowy hill.
Yep,
it's real good.
Yep, it's so true. Tiny's LEDs, these guys are like the OGs of these LED race wires. The LED, I love the LED race wires because you've got the race wire, which is super handy, but then you've also got some extra LEDs, which are cool and fun, and like, you know, God forbid you're ever flying it professionally. In Blue Hour, you're required to have really bright LEDs, and you've got them. If you want to turn these ARM LEDs off, you put a wrap of black electric tape over them, and they're off. They're just super cool to have, and they're super fun. And so if you go to Tiny's LEDs, which is just tinysleds.com, and you search for 4S, it's going to give you a bunch of different options. These little micro race light wires, these might be what you need on a 3-inch or 4.5-inch rig because they're only 15 millimeters long. They are 2 to 4S compatible. So these, it depends on the frame, but a lot of times with a micro build, you need a race wire that's only 15 millimeters long. So these are an option. If you want race wires in pink, I've got a version of these available over on my Etsy store that has a bigger LED chip on it. Where is it? I put them up here a long time ago. I used to have them in green, but they sold out. Here we go. Flywoo 9x15 ARM LEDs. They use the bigger LED chip, so they're going to be quite a bit brighter. So these are pretty slick. They're still that same size, 9 millimeters wide by 15 millimeters long. So yeah, if you want to support me and get yourself some ARM LED race wires, there you go. There's a way of doing that. Otherwise, Tiny Sleds has got you covered. Tiny Sleds. Every single time, I'm just like, I should stop saying Tiny Sleds. But you know,
just
that's what the
little
URL
kid.
is. Yeah. Uriel says it needs an O4 Lite. What's it? What's the it? Izzy Boop says Eva and I say hi. Hello, Eva and Izzy, hanging out up in New Jersey, buried in snow still, I think. Oh, brutal. Jimmy the Cow says, I do my taxes while watching CiottiFPV. How nerdy is that? That's pretty bad. But you got to do them sometime. Danzilla says, hey-o. Nyafu says, thoughts on ItsFPV and their custom motors and era frame. Seems okay. We've looked at their stuff before. I don't like having a massive chunk of 3D printed stuff up front. I really prefer having carbon fiber and then aluminum standoffs and the camera inside of that. Just having a 3D printed nose like this, I don't know, man. I feel like that's just asking for your camera to get obliterated. You know, I think there's a good reason that like 99% of FPV frames have the camera inside of carbon fiber and aluminum standoffs. It's been proven through, you know, millions of crashes from hundreds of thousands of pilots that that's kind of the way to do it. I love, you know, people trying something different and all, but like, I just don't know. I that's the thing that really gives me pause here. Custom motors, huh? I didn't know that they were doing custom motors. Where can I see their custom motors? What's custom about them? Is this it? This doesn't look very custom to me. 2306.5, that's a little bit too big of a motor in my opinion, unless you're flying something that's really heavy, which I don't. Yeah, tag me again and tell me if this is considered a custom motor. This just looks like a regular old motor to me. But maybe I'm missing something. Denzel the Terrible says, I heard CiottiFPV got hair plugs. That's one thing I'll probably never have to worry about, looking at my dad's hair. Uriel says, can we not get the... What are you talking about, Uriel? FPV says, I crash hard as hell inside. There you go. Nyafu says, have you tried solder to the top pads of the AIO? I did it on some of my 65mm whoops, and I've been able to replace a motor without the risk of melting the frame. My issue with that is it's gonna point the motor wire directly at like the top lip of the frame. And I don't love that idea. I don't love the idea of the frame like slamming into the wire coming off of it. If the AIO and the frame are not going to do that, that's great, because then yeah, you can potentially desolder or solder the wires without pulling the without having to unscrew everything from the frame. But yeah, I don't know. You still have to like fish the wires up in between the duct and the frame, and like you're, you know, all up in here, and it's a bit fiddly. But
might be a little easier with a really fine tip soldering iron that Joshua was showing off. What was that, last week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, for sure. If I think with the right AIO and with enough space to do that, that's a pretty cool solution. I'm fine with the plugs, to be honest. I you know, it's there's a lot of different ways to kind of get around this issue. The AIOs that I typically run are not AIOs where that's really an option. But yeah, if you can find an AIO that works with that, and the AIO is durable and you know, has everything going for it, that's a great option. Wayne Hunter says, have you ever tried a 4K digital microscope with a screen for soldering? I haven't, but my dad actually scored a deal on a bunch of digital microscope things. I just don't like have a place for it, and the work that I do is not really small enough to need that. With the nerd goggles, I have plenty of magnification. This is 3.5x magnification. These are like $20 whole on eBay or Amazon. And yeah, this is perfect. This works really well. I can get the work done quick. I don't have an extra big ass thing sitting on the desk. I think those microscopes are more for like surface mount work, which I have no interest in getting into.
I started using one. I'll tell you this. You should if your dad just has one that you can try, give it a try. See if it's worth making the space on your desk.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would have to like clear off this whole spot over here, which is kind of like my on deck circle,
They're also not that big anymore. They're like, you know, like, the base of mine is probably 10 inches by 8 inches or so. It's not huge.
Yeah, you just got to get it somewhere you can actually sit at it.
The other thing that's nice
If I
is some
ever
of them
wanted to
have
start doing
HDMI
surface
out.
mount work, it'd be, say again, Kevin.
Some of them have HDMI out, so you
I
could.
think this one does. I think this one does, which is
That
like
Logitech
super
you
tempting.
can throw into the street.
Yeah, right. Although God only knows if it'll be any better at focusing than the Logitech.
It has a manual focus ring, so well, mine does.
Nice. Euro says check mail, decide in 2 days, please. Deal. It sounds like Uriel sent me an email. Danzilla says need to bind Radio
Already
Master
got 'em.
ELRS. You got him? Okay, cool.
Yep.
YouTube just did the thing. Nope, YouTube didn't do the thing. So no, YouTube did the thing. I was gonna blame Social Stream, but Uriel says the mail I sent 1.5 hours ago. Got it. That's why I haven't seen it. eWeezy229 says I have two 1.8-inch builds, one with 1002 24,000s and one with 1102 22,000s. Which one should I put digital on and which one is for analog? That's a great question. I have the exact same setup, believe it or not. I had to answer that exact same question. And the my HD build is the one with the 1102 22,000s. And then my analog build is the one with the that's not the one. It's floating around here somewhere. The analog build is the one with the 1002 24,000s. Long story short, 1002 is not as wide as 1102, and so the 1102 is going to stay cooler. There's more of the motor, there's more motor width in the airflow of the propellers. So an 1102 is always going to stay a little bit cooler than a 1002. On the digital build, you're going to have more weight, and it's going to have to carry that all the time, and so the motor is going to want to run hotter. The 1102 is going to have a little bit more stator area and a little bit more mechanical torque. And so the fact that the 1102 Beta FPV motor is only 22,000 kV versus the 1002 Gep RCs being 24,000 kV, you're going to get a little bit of that advantage. The Gep RC motor, though, is probably going to make more power. So if you do that and on the HD build, it doesn't make enough power for you, swap them, which will be super easy because you're just going to unplug the motors, unscrew the 4 screws, pull the stack out of one, and you know what I mean? But the heavier rig will benefit from the 1102s. It'll if you're doing, well, yeah, you're doing those builds in 1S. Mine are 2S, and so I have more power than I know what to do with. With you on 1S, this is going to be super annoying. Ready? The older Beta FPV 1102 22,000s don't make nearly as much power as the brand new Beta 1102 22,000s. The brand new ones will make enough power and you'll be totally happy with them. The old ones might not make quite enough power. The old 1102s are put to shame by those Gep RC 1002 24,000s. So if you have the old 1102s, you should actually put those with the analog build. And then run those 1002s on the digital build because you're going to need the extra power. If you have a newer set, how new? I have no idea. Beta FPV did not change any markings on the motors. They didn't say anything about this. I'm not the only person that's noticed this, though. And so, I don't know. I don't know if this change happened a month ago or a year ago. I have not received a set of their 1102 motors in a long time. And so it could have been this way for the last year and I wouldn't have known it. But when they sent me the most recent, they sent me a set of those motors on a bind and fly a few months ago, and they made drastically more power than the old ones, and they made almost the same amount of power as the Gep RC 1002 24,000s. I have them sitting right here. I've specifically put these 1102s aside to not get them confused with the other ones that I have, which look completely identical. So yeah, that's how you're going to decide. Or just go 2S, and then there's a whole bunch of motors that make tons of power, and you'll be fine. But on 1S, with those Gep RC 1002 24,000s, an HD build does fly pretty good. On these newer Betaflight 1102s, same deal. It actually does fly pretty good. It's really annoying because I spent a ton of time trying to get these goddamn Betaflight 1102 22,000s to work on Walk Snail digital builds, HD0 digital builds, O4 Lite digital builds, and they never made quite enough power. And then all of a sudden, they make this change to them, and I think they just made them higher KV. I am going to test them at some point, but yeah, the brand new Betaflight 1102s make either the same amount or almost as much as the Gep RC 1002 24,000s. But you'd never know it. And like, if you go to a store and buy a set of these Betaflight motors, you have no idea what you're going to get. Get FPV, Pyrodrone, Race Day Quads, any FPV store. Lord only knows how long the 1102s you're about to buy from that shop has been sitting on the shelf. So there's no way of knowing what you're going to get. In theory, if you go to Betafpv's website and order these, in theory, you'll get the new ones, but maybe not. Maybe they have a whole bunch of the old ones that they're just trying to dump and get rid of. I was able to get these when they sent me the Bind and Fly Meteor 7504. And these motors came, and somebody else that I talked to, they got that same Bind and Fly, and same deal. They were like, why all of a sudden do these motors make a bunch more power than the old ones? So there you go. Nice and confusing for you. Thanks, FPV World. Nyafu says it's injection molded nylon. Talking about the ItsFPV front mount piece. I have no experience with smashing injection molded nylon into concrete at 80 miles an hour with 650 grams behind it. In theory, it'll be totally fine. That's tough.
You missed one.
Go ahead.
You missed one. Double A AMA FPV says, my Ciotti, my question of what is it was pertaining to what is in the white cardboard tube.
Oh, Stabilant 22, the electronical contact enhancer that we were talking about a minute ago. More coming soon. As soon as I can figure out where to get. I'm trying to get it locally. I'm trying to find 99% isopropyl alcohol locally, but I can only find it for $40, which is just stupid. I'm also trying not to buy it from stores that support fascism, which makes it very difficult because so many stores do. Ace Hardware has 99% isopropyl, but it's $40. That's a bit much. Danza the Terrible says, looks like a Mamba motor rebranded. Talking about the ItsFPV motor. Yeah, you're right. It does. Jeremy Flies FPV says, my wife, Lorelei, asked me where I picked up my Tiny Whoop Obsession, so she's watching the live stream with me tonight. Nice. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But look, it keeps him out of the strip club, so you're welcome. Jimmy Sprinkle says, why not 1202 and a half ever? I only see you push 11 something. Just curious, the ratio thing 3 to 1. Good timing. Max from Max Frames just sent me. I bought his 2-inch frame, and he said, "Yo, I've found these HGLRC 1202 and a half 11,000 kV motors. I think they are that I've been having really good luck with. Can I send you a set for your build?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." They don't have motor plugs, which is one of the biggest reasons. But yeah, they are going to get direct soldered to something when I do this build, and so there will be some 1202.5. I've stayed away from the open prop kind of builds for a long time, mainly because I crash a lot, and when I crash in the grass and there's one single blade of grass in the way of one of these motors, a lot of times it can't push it out of the way, and I have to take the walk of shame. With how often I crash, that leads me to just walk instead of fly. I just walk and walk and walk and walk and retrieve and then fly and then walk and retrieve and fly. And so I've stayed away from these open prop builds for a long time. And I've had really good luck, and I've had so much fun with like the bigger tiny whoops, the 1.6 inch prop, 1.8 inch prop, 2 inch prop, guarded tiny whoops on 2S for outdoor stuff, because the guards will push the grass out of the way, and I can almost always turtle mode this back over and take it back off. I did recently dive into some baby turtle 2-inch builds, which have been admittedly very fun. Admittedly, I do have to take the walk of shame a lot more often, and it just annoys the hell out of me, because especially now, because like I'm used to not having to do it. But I am forcing myself to spend more time with these open prop setups. With the O4 Lite, these become even more interesting. On analog, it didn't. Yeah, I wasn't super into it, but with the O4 Lite, this becomes really cool because you can take these anywhere and not get screamed at, not get like, you know, you can fly these things with proper video, proper range all over the damn place. And yeah, not hurt someone, not get screamed at, not get chased out by security, right? All these things. So these have a home now, I think, and I'm slowly kind of getting into it. I've got 2 of the 2-inch setups on baby turtle frames, 1 analog, 1 O4 Lite, and then I just recently got 2 of the 2.5-inch baby turtle frames to try out. And then I've got the Max frame as well. I think I'm going to pull one of these baby turtle frames apart to put... Actually, no. Max actually offered to send me the AIO that he really likes. He's found an AIO that's direct solder only for this guy. And he offered to send that over, which will be pretty cool. So this is going to get built with that. Super generous of him. MAXX frames over on Instagram. You just message them to order one of them. I talked about this frame in depth. It might have been yesterday. Could have been Friday as well. Either yesterday or Friday. I spent like 20 minutes talking about that frame. And so, yeah, I'm interested to see the 1202.5s. With the whole conversation about plugs versus no plugs, and the other reason that I don't like these open prop setups is that you grenade lots of motors. When you crash inverted, which is a way that I crash a lot, you bang this motor bell into the concrete and it just bends the shit out of these motor shafts. Admittedly, these builds are a little bit easier to kind of service, but a lot of times you're not going to be able to get a good quality solder joint in there without like pulling it significantly apart. And so I'm using motor plugs on these builds as well, so that I can justify flying them hard. And if I when I blow up a motor, it's easy to swap it out. So yeah, that's kind of why I've stayed away from 1202.5. Also, like a 1202.5, really, that's more, in my opinion, that's more of a 2.5-inch prop motor than a 2-inch prop motor. I'm super interested to see how these do at 11,000 kV on 2S on this 2-inch frame. But yeah, to me, that bigger size of motor, 1103, 1202.5, those are more for a 2.5-inch prop. But these GemFan 2023 S's, this is a lot of propeller. And so I have a funny feeling that 1202.5 might be really good on this prop. That being said, this prop on an 1102 or an 1103 is actually kind of fine. So I don't think we need a motor quite that big, but only one way to find out. Daters says, I want to buy the race wire from your Etsy, but I don't send them to Argentina. Sorry. I'll take a look if I find one here, not paying shipping costs for just $5. Yeah, I don't blame you. Mick Bucas says, Bind and Fly Air 65's receiver broke after 2 days of racing. My homie Bobby Big Balls reflowed it, and it's run ever since. 90 days. Reflow or no screw, which is better? What she said, LOL. Reflow or no screw? What's no screw? Reflow or no screw? What the hell's no screw?
I have no idea. McMucus, tell us what's a no screw? That's a new one on me.
Yeah, what's no screw? I love that a reflow's got it running for over 90 days, though. That's pretty great. I don't know what the hell. I wanted to reflow that 2G4 that died. I don't know what I do with it. I might have put it in the bag of broken electronics. CCAD Ryan says, it seems like I keep building the stock Meteor 75 Pro, but with different video systems. Still got to swap the VTX from your build you sent me after I finished moving cross country this week. Ooh, good luck on the move, man. Moving is brutal. Oh, here we go. It's 00Z, like 007. Oh, cool. I got it right. I at one point I think I said 00Z. Maybe not. Space Moon Stiff says, how long's the Breaking Bad poster been back? Couple days. I just recently moved it back there. Jimmy says, hell yeah, love the M2. Denzel the Terrible says, has anyone gorilla rooped a strip club yet? First person to trippy spin the pole wins 5 tickets to the next CiottiFPV giveaway. I've seen I think definitely 1, maybe 2 cinematic fly-throughs of Strip Club. I don't know.
Hey, Dan,
fly-throughs of interiors are...
Dan, if you come down for Castle Crash, I can potentially hook you and Z-Bones up. Z-Bones is a DJ at a strip club in Greenville, South Carolina. So.
Nice. There you go. Do it yourself, Dan. Don't rely on other people. SOS Death Valley says, I have the same kit you got there, Max M2 frame and motors. Very cool. Latrank says, Kevin, I hope you're both well. I haven't caught many streams lately. I'm currently in Australia. It's funny seeing the stream live at 3 p.m. Nice. Mick says, no front mounting screw on AIO.
Yeah, that's on that new Beta FPV, right?
Yeah. What were we talking about?
You still use the mount screw. It's just not the board doesn't mount to it. You got to use it for the camera mount.
Oh, reflow or no screw, which is better? Okay, I gotcha.
Okay,
I gotcha. Yeah, the no front screw thing is super interesting. I hope that this new Beta FPV Matrix board is really durable, because black box and 12 amp FETs, that's pretty gnarly. It's 11:10. Do you know where your children are?
One more. Smart Station put an underscore between Ciotti and FPV. He says, what was that prop puller you used yesterday? I have 4-blade on my Tinyhawk 3 freebie, and it is really hard to get any leverage.
It's a Propodial. If you buy anything from my Etsy store, I throw one of these in. So CiottiFPV.com, go to my Etsy store, find something you want, and you'll get one of these for nothing. The file is available. I think it's on Thingiverse if you search for Propodial. Chris Rennie designed this. It's awesome. It works super well. You just wrap it. It'll work perfectly for a 4-blade. It also works brilliant for biblades. For tri-blades, certain tri-blades are fine. Certain tri-blades are not. The new Gemfan 1207s and the Azzy props, this will ruin the propeller. It'll get the prop off, but it'll bend the blades up and ruin the prop. The Proptopus, I said it without being an idiot. The Proptopus is another file. This is for 3-blade props. It's way more fiddly and way more annoying to use, but it will get 3-blade props off without ruining them. This is on Thingiverse. There we go. Kevin Sumner just dropped a link. It's Maker World, which is where the Propodial is. But yeah, the Proptopussy is on.
There you go. You did it. See what you did?
It's just too good. I don't care. I don't care. I don't monetize the streams anyway, so YouTube doesn't do any advertising for me whatsoever. So it doesn't matter if I curse the whole goddamn live stream. They don't show the stream to any new people regardless. All right, let's do plugs versus no plugs and see how bad plugs are compared to direct soldered.
Frank Nicholas says, I'll drop a bottle of 99% IPA in the mail tomorrow. Look at that.
Frank, where did you get it? Don't you dare order that from Amazon. No, we're not supporting them. It's easy that you can just...
You just got one on the shelf. He's just being a Chad, man. Like always.
Seriously. Where'd you get it, dude? Where can I get... I know it's out there. I know there's like... There'll be like it'll be in like Walgreens or something just sitting there on the shelf, but like I can't. I bought a case, 12 bottles. Holy shit. He literally does have them sitting on the shelf in 2023.
I don't know what you use that much IPA for unless you're cooking up some chemistry in your basement. Like,
thank you, Frank. That's super cool. Gross stores. Okay, so I've got 6 Weebleed batteries. As you can see, they're all gold marked. Here's the inside baseball behind that. You can buy a little kit of metallic Sharpies, and there's like they'll come with silver, gold, green, red, blue. These are awesome because they write on like absolutely anything. And so when you get, I almost lost the stupid ear pod. These things do not fit my ears worth of shit. When you buy a set of Tiny Whoop batteries, mark them. And now you know all these batteries you bought on January, you won't know when, but you'll know that you bought these all at the same time. And then when you buy another 6-pack a couple months later, you mark them with a different color. And so you know that the gold ones are your old ones. And when you have a battery that's starting to be weak, if it's one of the gold, you're like, okay, cool. And it just helps. So yeah, mark your battery, mark them up here because you won't wipe it off. I've tried marking these batteries in all the different places and it always gets wiped off. This is the only spot that I've found that it doesn't get wiped off. So these batteries have all been bought at the same time. Oh, here's the other thing. When you fly all 6 of your gold batteries, and then fly all 6 of your red batteries, and then fly all 6 of your gold batteries. And so your gold batteries get charged and discharged the same number of times. And so eventually you'll have, like, your gold batteries will be your old ones. And so those are the ones that you fly around the house and you pound the living shit out of. When you go to somewhere cool to fly, you bring your red batteries that you bought more recently, and they fly better, right? And so mark your batteries. 6 gold batteries, all bought at the same time, all charged and discharged the same number of times. Let's go direct soldered first. Bri-Brain canopy, CO3 camera, tiny little lightweight antenna, Cockroach 65 V3 frame, HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 propellers, VCI 0702 30,000 kV light motors, the ones with the bushings. I think that's everything, right? That's the whole Tiny Whoop build. Yeah, BT 2.0. By the way, follow up from yesterday's live stream. For the next hour after I ended the stream, I pulled those 2 motors that were acting up back apart. I put the good bells onto new stators, soldered those up, and it's perfect. So those 2 motors, the stators were blown up. The motor bells were bent. The motor shafts were bent. But also the stators were banged up. The bushings were jacked up. That's pretty rare. But yeah, there's your follow-up to the fail at the end of yesterday's live stream. I spent an hour showing you guys how to bell swap a motor because I had 2 motors that the motor shafts were bent, but little did I know the stator was also effed up. Which it worked out perfectly because I said before I started doing all that work, hey, it's safer to swap the whole motor. But if you're a cheap bastard like me and you're willing to spend a whole bunch of time, you can just swap the motor bells, and usually it works, and then it, you know, slapped me in the face, which is fine. I'm going to make a quick note here where I can track some of this stuff. So we're going to go solder, and then we're going to go plug. All right, here we go. Direct soldered motors first. Both of these rigs have the exact same frame, motor, propeller, camera mount, slightly different cameras, slightly different AIO, but it shouldn't be much of a difference. No plugs first. That's gonna get old so fucking fast. It's gonna ruin that song, and it's gonna get old so fast. I'm already kind of annoyed with how long it takes the thing to turn on because of that. Here we go. First thing we do is we check what kind of RPM we get on a big full throttle blast. This crazy G473 is doing this weird thing where I don't get voltage until the battery is like halfway discharged. Oh shit, I hit the ceiling. 49,893. That is not high enough RPM. Where am I? Oh god.
Something just like spit you out.
Something spit me out indeed. Let's try that again. Oh god. No. Oh, okay, that was a good run. Let's see what we got. That's kind of low. 50,100. No solder. 50,100. I think we're gonna see more next time we do it. But you never know. So now we just fly the battery, and we take a look at what kind of runtime we get from just normal flying. We're gonna do this a couple times because I'm gonna fly a little bit differently every battery. I try not to. I try to just fly like as normal as I can, but I'm gonna hit stuff at a different frequency. I'm gonna turtle mode more or less. I had to touch my goggles there and then I crashed. Jesus. So this is the direct soldered one. See, now I've got voltage. Isn't that weird? I've never seen that before. In 10 years of doing this, I've never seen no voltage until the until it comes down a little bit. I have no idea what's happening there. With these fresh motors, this thing is awesome. That was a... I drug the roll to the right and it pulled me into the side of the thing. I was like watching myself do it. It was very weird. Let's get a little bit of not full throttle throws in here. A little bit of technical flying on each battery. Drop down below the impossibly low coffee table. Teddy made a mess out of the burrito blanket. That's kind of annoying, but, you know, dogs, man.
So chill. Oh.
What a good little shit.
Jimmy the Cow.
We're trying to land at 3.5, and there it is.
Jimmy the Cow says the no voltage thing is it because the voltage tab is set too low, so it doesn't see the high HV voltage, and the thing is a 2S. I feel like I had this problem before.
It could totally be that. Good call.
Oh, yeah.
2 minutes and 45 seconds. Let's see where the voltage bounces back to. Let me log that. 245. And voltage is coming back. It's probably not going to go beyond 375. Yeah, 375. All right, there's 3.75. So there's our first... What happened there? Got it. there's our first battery. Good call. I'm going to take a quick look at that.
Yeah, that's just something I have to reflexively do now because I run so many high volts. Even my 4S are high volts as well.
Yeah, I had that happen forever ago. I haven't had it happen in a long ass time.
I wish Betaflight would just move it because high volts is so popular.
Yeah, for sure. It is very weird. Yeah, basically what's happening there potentially is that it thinks that it's a 2S battery that's completely dead. I thought that when that happens, it reads like 1.9 volts because it thinks it's a 2S, but we're going to see. I'm going to make the change.
Well, no, it would read, it should read, it's a 4.35 charged all the way up, and then divide by 2, it'd be a 2.175 volts. What it would be reading.
Yeah, I don't know why it would read 0. This is the only rig that I've got that's on the brand new 2015 firmware, which only works on the Betaflight app on the internet, which annoys me because I'm an old person. So to fix that, what you want to do is go into maximum cell voltage here, and instead of 4.3, you want to move it to 4.4. So let's see if that works. You could even move it to 4.5, but 4.4 will be fine. All right. And let's see if that fixes it. Good call. Who was it that said that?
Jimmy the cow, moo moo.
Good job. Good job, Jimmy. Good thinking.
Hey, Ryan says, Ciotti, which 1S charger are you using? 4.38 volt at the very start caught my eye. I don't ever get that high for some reason.
Nope, didn't fix it. I'm using the Firefly. Oh, but see what just happened? I armed and disarmed. So it only does that the first time it's armed. That's even weirder.
Is this on CAC firmware?
Nope. That is even weirder. All right, let's get a nice RPM here. Ooh, man, this thing, it just jams. These motors make power. These VCI motors make big power. 51, 161. I don't know why these numbers are so low. I would think that these, it feels like it's got more power than this. But, I mean, I don't know. Interesting.
Madman FPV. Madman FPV. He's cruising cool. He's got his caps lock on. He says, "What's up? Love your live rips."
Thank you, dude. I can't believe how hard I just hit that wall. I almost certainly woke someone up on that one.
Madman.
We're gonna see what the RPM is real quick.
He's on the Castle Crash Society planning board with me.
51,943. I mean, that's a little bit better. 51,943. Hit that wall hard, dude. I don't think we're gonna have. I think something weird might be going on this rig with the RPM. These motors should be making more RPM than this, I would think, but we'll see. No. Easy. We've been seeing, like, so these VCI 0702 30,000s, they make good power. Like, I know that. I can just feel that they make really good power. Motors that make this much power, I'm usually seeing at least 55,000, if not like 58, 59, 60,000, which is why I'm like really confused here. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what could possibly cause the RPM telemetry, the digital D-shot. The words elude me at this moment. What are the words that I'm searching for, Kevin? D-shot telemetry? What's it called?
Yeah,
why can't I think of it?
D-shot telemetry, that's right.
Getting old sucks, man.
Bidirectional D-shot.
Bidirectional D-shot, that's it. I don't know what would cause that to report not correct values. Damn it. I tried to cut that really close.
Have you set the correct number of poles in Betaflight?
Good call.
is it defaults to 14, which is true of everything except for tiny 1S motors.
Yeah, we will check that after this battery. Good call.
And let's see, 14. Well, so it would be reporting about 16% lower than it should. Unless I have that math backwards, but whatever.
Ooh, I almost hit myself. Teddy, what are you doing? Nibble on my leg? What's that about?
15, 16.
Don't do that. Is that math workout? 3.5 at a hover. 3.5 at a hover. So let's see. 2 minutes and 59 seconds. These are really good. This is really good runtime for motors that make this kind of power. These runtimes are really good. So the direct soldering is absolutely more efficient, as it as it should be. Let's get some of this shit written down here. Hold on, let me just move these around a little bit. Okay, 259, and let's see what the voltage bounces back up to. So we're looking. Oh my God, it's so hard to do. We're looking right here. This is the current battery voltage. And so when you disarm, it's going to bounce back, and we're seeing how far it bounces back. I saw 3.69. I'm hoping it goes up a little bit higher than that. 3.68. Come on. That's not gonna. 3.69. All right. Well, we'll be all right. Battery in the transmitter is starting to go dead, so I'm just gonna turn the volume down. That's the right way to fix that problem, right? Oh, that's not the volume. That's the volume. All right. Problem solved. Oh man, it's really dropping. It's down at 6.4 volts. I gotta change it. Oh, and apparently I don't have the knob set up to do volume on this thing. All right, so let's check the motor poles first, and then I'll swap the transmitter battery, and we will continue. Somebody just said, I think you limited those motors down last stream. I think you're right. I think that you're right, which really sucks because that means everything we've done is for nothing. God damn it.
It just means you can fly more. Look at the bright
You're
side.
at 100% motor output.
More.
It is on 14 motor poles, though. I'll be damned. Good call, dude. That's funny because I have not had that motor pole set correct in the past, and it's made no difference. There's the difference that it makes. It makes a difference in the RPM that it reports. So that sucks a big bag of dicks. Although I guess we can just do the math, right?
I believe I would not just do the math. Do another battery if you can, and double check that the RPM changes.
I'm putting those other two on the charger.
We can figure out the scale. Yeah, there you go.
The two that I just flew are going right back on the charger.
Yeah, you got time.
We got a half an hour. Cool. We should be all right. All right. Let me change out this transmitter battery. Anything going on in the chat?
Yeah. We got Frank Nicholas says it's in the mail. Texted tracking info.
Awesome. Thank you, dude. Very cool.
Zach is doomed by the belt, which, by the way, is one of the greatest YouTube names ever. I think you limited those motors down last stream, which you already caught. And then Jimmy the Cow says, taking a break from taxes, eating some loaded Oreo cookies. Thanks for the suggestion.
Oreo flavored Oreos in the house.
Man, I'm on a diet right now. Y'all got to stop talking about cookies.
Let me do this too. I'm going to turn off VBAT SAG compensation. You know what? No, I'm not. Because we take off, we go directly upstairs, we go full throttle. It's going to... Yeah, no, I'm going to leave it on because I'll forget to turn it off on the other rig. Now that we've got the motor poles set up correctly, we're fine. Okay. Transmitter now has a functioning battery in it. Motor poles are set correct. Now we'll get... I'll bet you we get 60,000 RPM on these motors. I'll bet you we get up into the 60s. Here we go. Yep. Don't start beeping, Goggles. So I arm the first time, and then I just disarm and arm again, and now I have voltage. That
Weird.
is a little bit annoying, but not all that annoying. Ooh! All right, here we go. Here comes 60,000. Ooh! Ooh! 59,042. 59,042. Hold on. All right. I'll write that down real quick. 59,042. That is much more realistic. That's what I was expecting. There's a dog! Chase it, you little lazy shit. Teddy, you used to be so much more fun. Woo! Damn! I almost framed him up for that whole thing. That would have been insane to keep him in frame for that whole move. All right. We're going to refly those first two batteries. No, we're not. I'm going to... The runtime and the voltage on those batteries was good data. I'm going to let those batteries charge. And then we're just going to do that full throttle hit. So we're going to get 3 full sets of data here. That's the way to do it. Oh, God! The fucking Newbie Drone cube is the hardest cube in here. And I just made it my bitch. God. No! Oh! Oh! So close! Oh, didn't quite get it. Close. Close, but no cigarette. Oh, we're in it now. Maybe direct soldering is the key.
Capital C says, I have been macking on Reese's Chips Ahoy. So good. I agree. I wish I had a
I was
sleeve on
shocked
them.
at how not horrible those were. I will say that.
They were quality. They were quality.
All right. Not full throttle flying, just chilling for a minute here. Let's shoot the impossible gap. Come on, get low, get low, get low. Oh, and then I crash into a fucking LED lit cube sitting in the middle of the floor. Great. No, don't. Thank you. Oh, no. Crashed. Where'd the dog go? There he is. Look at him trotting around. Oh, boy, this battery fell on its face pretty quick. 3.51, 3.49. There we go. Oh, God! Oh, man. When these things fall out, it resets the thing. You get. Oh, I'm going to be very quiet because the microphone is very loud on the earbuds. Hold on. I'm fixing it. Hold on. I'm fixing it. Hold on. Okay, better. Apple, for God's sakes, make AirPods that fit human beings.
I told you about the hooks, right?
Yeah.
Although I got I asked for Christmas and received some of the ones that Dank Pods recommends that have that hook over your ear.
What's a Dank Pods?
Wired? Do you not know Dank Pods?
I don't know what a Dank Pods is.
So Dank Pods is another YouTuber who has multiple things. I think you would enjoy the shit out of Dank Pods. Chat, back me up. Dank Pods.
Dankpod sounds like a jerk. I'm just gonna say it.
He has his like first thing was iPod repair videos, and he started the like wave of was a highly contributing factor to the wave of people that are like getting back into iPods.
Right.
And then he has another stream that he calls Garbage Time, which is all about his collection of cars, and most of them are kind of shitbox. Like he's got one called Tony. It's this red thing from from like Soviet Eastern Bloc. He has another one that's called Drum Time, where he just wails on the drums. Whatever he finds at his local, it's called cash converters or cashies in Australia. He is also a fan of the Mighty Mods.
Oh, well then he's okay by me.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't take much for me.
Dank is good stuff.
All right, I'll check him out. Any fan of Marty and Moog is a fan of mine. Is somebody I'm a fan of. There we go.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Now the goggle batteries are going dead. All the batteries are going dead. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take 2 of these freshly charged batteries, and we're gonna do just the full throttle rip, and then I'm gonna put these right back on the charger. The run times are done here. This is where we're at. 2 minutes and 45 with the voltage bouncing back to 3.75. I should have flown this longer. This was my mistake. 2 minutes 59, voltage bouncing back to 369. 3 minutes and 14. That's really good runtime. Voltage bouncing back to 3.7. We're going to fix these 2, though. Cool? That's what we're doing real quick here. Because we had those motor poles set wrong. Here we go. Oh, God. Get in there. All right. 0 volts. Arm it. Disarm it. What? Why are you not... ELRS, what are you doing? ELRS. Work. What? See, this is where it's annoying. I have to power cycle the quad, and now it's going to take forever to play this silly song again.
What song did you put on this thing?
What's the name of that song? That song. Why won't this bind? What has happened?
Oh, the Hunter theme?
No, that's on the other one. This is
In a Lonely World. Living in a Lonely World.
Is that it?
Midnight Train going anywhere.
What? That's it. Yep. Why?
Yep.
So ELRS has.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
The bed?
You know what you could put on your ELRS? You know what you could put, Ciotti?
What's that?
Helicopter, helicopter.
Oh my God! I didn't see that in the list. If I'd seen that in the list, I would have probably put it on. All right, I'm trying to bind this again. It lost bind.
Thank you, Tanky. Lost bind.
Don't Stop Believing is the name of this song.
Yes,
Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Stop Believing. Yes.
Well, this is not great. Let me... I'm going to power cycle the transmitter, maybe? This is weird. Okay. Power cycling the transmitter. I'm going to power cycle the quad as well. Please. Oh, no. I didn't have the transmitter powered up when the quad came on, so now even if ELRS is going to go around the horn, it's going to take forever. Come on! Well... It's not going terribly well. Let me try listening to Don't Stop Believing again. That'll...
One more time around the horn.
That definitely won't annoy the shit out of me. I mean, if it had happened when I pummeled it into the wall at full throttle, I would kind of understand. But this happened just when I changed batteries, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But ELRS seems to have shit itself. Let's try rebinding it. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to come in here to bind mode, send the bind request, binding. For anyone that's new, this is what FPV really is. You know, when you go on YouTube, it looks like it's flying around, but no, it's just stuff not working for no reason at complete random.
Good FPV videos are all this edited out.
It's 100 hours of this and then an hour of flying. Wowee. Okay. So nope, nothing. Let's see if the bind button in Betaflight works. It pretty much never does. This is super weird. I mean, what it's looking like happened is that I unplugged one battery and plugged another battery in, and the ELRS receiver died on this crazy G73, which makes absolutely no sense. It only makes sense when it dies when you smash it into something really hard.
Right, Nicholas says check in antenna on the AIO.
Check, what is it?
The antenna on the AIO.
Yeah, even with no antenna, it'll still bind. But the antenna looks fine. I mean, it's now in Wi-Fi mode. I guess I can see if it's showing up here. Which it's not, which is interesting.
That would indicate to me that either the power amplifier
3
blew or
oh wait, there it is.
No, wait, those are two different. No, those are two different antennas.
So the Wi-Fi was working. What in the hell? Bind mode. Press to send bind request. It's flashing twice. It's in bind mode right now. What the hell? Bueller? ELRS flasher. Let's see. Receiver. You know what? I'm not going to do it this way. I'm going to wait for it to go back into Wi-Fi mode and do it that way. If I do it with the web flasher, then I there it is. Now it's in Wi-Fi mode. Come on. There it is. It should have my binding phrase in it. I don't understand why it wouldn't, but it doesn't. That's very weird. Did it
lose?
Yeah, did it like wipe itself in some weird way?
I have noticed that with like some of the microcontrollers, for whatever reason, they just like lose their stuff every so often. Had it happen with flight controllers. I've had it happen. Like you remember how crossfires.
Oh,
There was like
Crossfires did
magic
this shit
crossfires that
all
just
the
wipe
time.
themselves all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about getting off of Crossfire. I think we're gonna be fine now. Or not. What the hell's going on? Let me plug another quad in to isolate if it's the module. It very well could be my my module. Let's see. Here's the plug quad that we do need to test. There's Spy Hunter. Nope. It's the quad. I gotta be honest. This crazy G473 has been kind of weird. It's got the binding phrase. What the hell? Antenna's fine. But again, even without an antenna, it would be fine. I mean, it's not on fire. It's a good sign.
It's the little wins.
The hell?
Frank Nicholas says, battery / power and transmitter okay?
Yeah, I just changed it. And the other quad connected right up. So it's definitely this whoop. It's definitely this crazy G473.
I later FPV didn't tag anybody, but he says, I actually enjoy when live streams become FPV troubleshooting group therapy sessions.
That makes one of us. At least somebody enjoys it. Wow. Yeah, okay. ELRS won't bind anymore. Why not?
Weird.
Well, we got that one full throttle run. I guess this crazy G473 is dead. I'll screw with it after the stream, I guess. What the hell?
Frank Nicholas says some antennas are simply small pieces of wire. I wonder if it was maybe shorted.
Yeah, that's what this antenna is. It's just a little piece of wire, but it's not shorted. It's hanging out up here all.
I think what he's saying is if the tip of it, which it doesn't have the coating on it, shorted to ground or positive somehow.
Interesting. I wonder, but then wouldn't Wi-Fi mode not work?
No, Wi-Fi is on a separate path. It doesn't use the same power amplifier.
Interesting.
Jimmy the Cow. Thank you, sir. Jimmy the Cow with $10 super chat.
Oh, shit. Thank you, Jimmy, for supporting the madness that is trying to do this full time with FPV gear that just...
His message says, RIP.
Indeed. I'm gonna message my guy over at Happy Model about this one and be like, "Yo, you want to see one of your crazy G473s acting up?" Ooh, I broke the camera mount. Hello, I'm a broken camera mount. It was that massive full throttle slam into the wall. For sure, it was.
Is it Canadian now? South Park Canadian?
It's floppy headed. All right, well, the crazy G473 build is dead. That's just awesome. We got that 1 RPM value.
1 RPM.
Moving on.
Uriel says Happy Model has a new motor EX0802 KV 2200. I assume he means 22,000. That's not a new motor, is it? EX0802 22,000. I
don't pay any attention to motors that are that low of a KV, so
that might be new. compared to they might have been 14 and 19, and that was it.
Capital C says, was that flight controller brand new? Pretty much. This is like the 4th or 5th battery on it. So 2G4 for life, friends. All right, here's the build with the plugs. 2G4 build. It'll live forever.
Jimmy the Cow says, buy yourself some hay, in parentheses, grass on me.
Nice. I will. Deal. All right, let's see what the difference is with motor plugs. Oh my god. 56,717. Not super surprising.
Bebot says he's dead,
where I am. Oh, I know where I am. Oh boy. Oh no. I'm gonna have to go get it. I can't see where it is, and there's people sleeping in the house, and I don't love that the video's gone to shit. Can we break 2 builds in one stream? I'll let you know in a second.
I mean, I don't know if Ciotti can still hear me, but I came back from flying, the one good day 3 weeks ago. All of my 4-inch builds broken. And then I was flying inside the next weekend, teaching my boys to fly. And I pulled out 4 of my 65s, and only one of them worked when we started. Then when we were done, none of them worked. So, just batting 1,000 over here. It's a real great time. I got a pile of stuff to do on the bench, and I haven't had 0 time to do it. Oh, look at Teddy. He's like, come on, give me that quad. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I want it. I want it. I want it. All right.
All right, let's see. What did I say for the RPM? Anybody? 56? Whew, stairs.
Getting your workout for the day.
56,000-ish.
Did you hear my discussion about my weekend?
Partially. It was
breaking. Short version is all my 4-inch or all my 3 inches are broken, and now all my 65 mils are also broken, and I haven't had a chance to fix anything. Jimmy the Cow says, Kevin, breaking drones sounds like a good day. Jimmy, what you don't understand is that I went to the field believing that all of my drones were fixed. I have a system where I put a piece of orange gaff tape on a quad that has something broken about it, and then I move on to the next one. None of the quads that I took to the field had orange gaff tape on them. Out of the, I think, 5 builds that I took, only one of them flew. It's just the gremlins got into it.
Oh, brutal. Speaking of brutal, my flying is brutal right now. I don't know what's going on. I am hungry as hell, though. My stomach just imploded on itself.
You're hungry and angry. That's a great way to fly.
Pretty much the story of my life. It's a good way to describe me. I met this guy, Ciotti. He was hungry and angry.
Zach is Doomed by the Bell says, the new RCM Power 702 and 802 motors seem promising. Redesigned stator and super lightweight. 702s are 1.11 grams.
I hope they figured something out with the efficiency. Because, boy, they just ate batteries.
Was RCM Power the one making Bubby's motors, the Jelly Bean motors? Did you ever figure that out?
Maybe.
Those were heavy, like those original.
Quite heavy.
Jelly Bean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just having a hard time all of a sudden.
Islander FPV says, Ciotti, was that last rig with the front grommet installed?
Yeah. Crazy G 473 uses all 4. There we go. All right, there's the end of that battery. I don't know why the runtime is so high. Let's just ignore that I ever flew this battery here. This is ridiculous. How did it run for 3 minutes?
Nobody was here. We
seconds?
all agree. We didn't see anything.
I'm gonna write it down just for the sake of writing it down. But let's just pretend that never happened, and we're gonna move on to the next battery here.
Tanky FPV says, also called hangry. This is different, Tanky. This is not angry because you're hungry. It is angry at quads and just generally hungry. There's a difference.
Yeah, it's true. I have the big reason that I'm so goddamn skinny is I've had a crazy metabolism my whole life. And so, like, I eat, and then about 2 hours later, it doesn't matter how much I eat, 2 hours later, I'm hungry again. And so, my entire life has just been spent hungry. And so, I don't actually, like, get hangry, other than just that I'm always angry. So, yeah, there's that.
It's the Hulk meme. You know the one I'm talking about?
No.
In the movie, I forget exactly the exchange, but somebody's talking to Hulk and he's like like talking about how he transforms, and they're like, don't you just get angry? And he says, that's the trick, I'm always angry.
Nice.
So Ciotti, that's the trick, you're always hungry.
That's it. Yo, I am hitting that railing on practically every single one of these full throttle blasts at this point. I'm not gonna have any working quads in a minute. This is brutal. But this thing just did 59,000 RPM, which is what we were getting on motor plugs, which is makes no sense, but I love it. And so I don't know, man. We just got 3 minutes and 33 seconds of runtime, and now we're getting 59,000 RPM. So, like, maybe plugs are better than direct soldering. It doesn't make any sense, but
yeah, Peter says there's an online repository with like 6,000 songs in ringtone format for BlueJay.
In the melody format for the ESCs.
Yep. Oh, I think doesn't BlueJay just use RTTL? Everybody's Nokia phone from like 2003.
Maybe. Well, the cool ones though, the cool ones are the ones that have 4 channels.
Yeah.
So each motor, so you get like some harmonization. Those are the ones that I picked. I didn't pick any of the ones that are just one single.
Yeah.
Beep beep boop boop beep beep boop.
That also that's actually useful diagnostics too, because if you can call out the different voices or pick out the different voices by ear, then you can tell that there's something wrong with one motor, instead of if they're all putting out the same tones. It's a lot harder to figure out, oh, that there's something wrong, because they all just sound the same.
Very true. That's cool.
So what I normally run on my quads is the Super Metroid item acquisition melody, and it has
a nice short one.
It has short one. It's got 4 channels. It's got a baseline, 2 mids, and a high. And I can pick it out. I can say when a motor's gone dead or channel's fritzing out or whatever, I can say, oh, there's something bad, because the baseline drops out. Oh, okay.
Right. That's slick. That's very slick. Oh, wow. Okay. That was totally skill. All right. Now we didn't get quite as much runtime on this one. Let's see where the voltage bounces back to, though. 2 minutes and 28. 2:28. Man, we are getting numbers that are all over the goddamn place tonight. 3.72.
Jimmy the Cow dropped an AI image in General Nonsense. It's a picture of like a Godzilla-looking creature. Danzilla the Terrible will drone for cookies. If you're not on the Discord, y'all need to go get on the Discord right the F now.
That's pretty good. Oh my god. Well, none of the batteries on the charger are giving me an okay. They're all bouncing back and forth between 4.34 and 4.35. So let me give them another second, because that's not really a fair test. But I mean, we just got 59,000 RPM from the motor plugs. That's actually higher than, although we only have one data point for the other quad before it blew up. I've tried to test stuff recently, and it's been a real shit show.
You really have had a rough go of it lately.
It's been pretty tough.
Oh,
Yeah,
Frank
so
Nick.
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay. Frank Nicholas pointing out something very important, and I'm super annoyed by it.
Yep,
Discord
me
coming
too.
soon next month requires age verification. Thank you, governments across the world that don't understand how any of this actually works.
It's just so dumb. They're just all so dumb. Yeah, I don't know if there's an alternative to Discord, we might be moving. Because I don't know about this shit. I'm not. I have had to upload a picture of my license to like 1 or 2 places, and it just feels awful every time.
Well, the provider that Discord used to use, like in October or something, got popped, and the data got stolen. What I really want, I was talking with some of my friends from work earlier. What I really want is like, why do I need to upload my license to 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 Discord and take a photograph? What is this? The 70s? Instead, how about I go and do the like three-legged thing. You know how like sometimes you log into another website with your Google account?
Right.
Why doesn't the government just provide that where it's like if Discord's asking for what are you 21? Are you 18? And it just bounces through and like I authenticate against a government website who already has to have all of my information anyway for me to do things like pay taxes and whatever
Yeah.
else. And
It's
then
almost
it
like they're doing it on
returns to
purpose.
them. Yeah, it returns to them. Oh yeah, it's clearly like that. All of these services are then immediately taking all of this information and turning it into. And this is tinfoil hat shit. So don't take it too seriously. But like you got to know that they're immediately taking those driver's license photos and using them to compile a facial recognition database immediately.
Some of us made it very easy for them to do that.
Well, yeah.
Oh my god. All right, this one battery is sitting at 4.35. I'm pulling it. It'll be fine. Last one. Last test we're doing. We got a somewhat decent data set from the 473 before it died of death. I can't believe this AIO blew up. I just and there's nothing I can do. The binding phrase is in there. Unreal. All right, last test. Plugs. Let's see what's up.
Islander
See if we can
FPV
get
says
59,000 RPM again. Go ahead.
Islander FPV, do you think running VBAT SAG compensation is contributing to the inconsistencies in this test?
No, because it's turned on both. And I'm doing the same like flight path, you know?
I agree. I think
Woo!
the max RPM that you're gonna get out of it is the max RPM you're gonna get out of it. Like
56,879. See, that's more what I think we what is it? 56,875.
yeah.
That's what I expected. 56,000 versus 59,000. I have a feeling that battery that hit 59 was like a hot battery or something like that. We've got two 56s. That makes a lot of sense. That's kind of what I've seen before. Like direct soldered motors, 3,000, 4,000 RPM higher, which is not nothing, but it's not something that a freestyle pilot's going to notice, I don't think. Let's see what kind of runtime we get here. I'm curious if we can get another 3-minute runtime battery going on.
Game Hat Ariel is in the house. He says, "Did you see the Snapmaker you won?"
Oh. No. I don't know what that is.
The 3D printer, multicolor 3D printer.
So we just lost our runtime. God damn it. Can somebody rewind and look at what the runtime was when that crash happened? 2G4s, like, never, not never, obviously, because it did just happen, but very rarely power cycle like that on crashes. Why am I getting low battery already?
Check in. That was the one you crashed looking at the TV.
It was looking at like a rainbow colored. Oh my god! I closed my eyes on that. Oh, there's something ain't right here. This is like no runtime. What's going on?
It was a 52,375, and that was at. Oh no, that was total arm 11 seconds. That's not right.
This battery is jank. This battery bounced all the way back up to 3.76. That ain't right. This is the problem with doing this shit with batteries, but like I genuinely think that doing this with real world flying is important. Well, whatever. The data is the data.
Let's see. Gamehead Ariel says 3D printer with 4 auto switching tool heads for multi-material.
Oh, that's wild. What did you say it was, Kevin? 53?
I think that was the wrong number. Because it's the same number that's sitting on screen right now.
Gamehead says 115. So 115 plus 49. Yeah, it's way too low. 15, 105. Basically 205. That's way too low. Well, this data set sucks. I'm Teddy, can you get up out of there? Yeah, tonight's data set sucks, but some things track. Some things look right, some things don't. Let's take a look at it in 1 second. I'm just looking at the pins on this battery real quick. Sometimes the little BT 2.0 pins will get separated. These look fine though. Oh, man, I don't know. Let's do this. Let me put these things onto the uninterruptible power supply. No, not uninterruptible. But let me put these things onto the adjustable power supply, and I'm gonna spin these motors up and see if I can learn anything real quick. Hang on. So we're gonna come in here. This is the 473 that it would appear that the it would appear that the receiver has exploded on. Oh, I guess it helps if I plug it into USB instead of just powering it. All right, plugged into USB, plugged into 4 volts constant.
GameHat just said the thing I was thinking earlier. Ciotti, I want to see something like bullet connectors for Whoop motors. Even if not that, the industry can do better for motor plugs. Yeah, like JST SH 1.25, which is what we're using for these, or Molex. What are they? Pico Blade, is that the name? They're like 20-year-old connectors specifically for data. They're not intended for pushing high amps or high in air quotes amps through.
Yeah, they're junk. I mean, they were fine when the motors didn't make much power, but, and I mean, that's the problem here, right? Is that the motors are making drastically more power. All right, so let's see. This is the direct soldered rig. Let's see what kind of RPM we get. You're looking right here. 64, 65, 64, 64, 64, 65. All right, that's direct soldered. Now we're going to try plugs. Nice little consistency there. Finally something is consistent tonight. Oh, this one's just a regular plug instead of an annoying little USB dongle. That's nice. Thank you,
Latrank,
224.
Latrank says, I'm not against 16 plus for social media in Australia. Kind of like I'm not against vaping being illegal. Kids are definitely healthier here than in Poland because of it.
Yeah, but they got to do it the right way. They can't do
Right.
it with pictures of our licenses. That's absolute insanity.
Means matters. What's the saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Right. Here we go. Ready? 64. 65. 64. 64. That does not fare well for direct solder. Those RPMs are also low enough that we're not getting near the 8-bit limit. There's with all of the 8-bit ESCs, there's a roughly 85,000 RPM limit, where the 8-bit ESC is not fast enough to turn the motor by beyond that. We're nowhere near that. We're at 65, 64, 65. And so, yeah. Why the hell?
So GameHead Ariel points out, even though the RPM reach is the same, isn't there more resistance on the plug, thus draining the battery more? That is a
In
potential.
theory.
Yeah, you have to measure at the battery what the amperage draw between the two is. I think you could do it from the shunt connector as well. So the amperage that the AIO is giving you.
How the hell did it just turn? So what we just did is a loaded thrust test, right? Held down, not a real world scenario, right? Thrust stand testing is not an indication of what happens in the real world, other than the split second where you're hovering and you hammer the throttle. For that split second before the quad starts moving, sure, thrust stand is absolutely dead on the money. But the second that the quad starts moving, now there's incoming air, and now the motors can spin up higher than they ever will on a thrust stand. And then as it goes faster and faster, there's more and more incoming air. So really high kV motors, for example, won't do well on the thrust stand, but then when you fly them for real and they've got all this incoming air, they can really like open up. On the thrust stand, they'll kind of like, they won't bog down, they'll heat soak basically, because they're doing more work than they really need to, if they're an overly high kV.
Yeah. You get good amperage information because it basically is the highest. It's nearly the highest situation that's actually second behind a full like dirty prop wash fall trying to go back the other way. But yeah, the amperage information that you get on a thrust stand is decent.
Yeah.
Frank Nicholas says motor plugs ×4 power draw compared to battery plug battery capacity. How do those compare?
I'm not sure I totally understand the question, but what I can say is that the BT 2.0 plugs are not a bottleneck. We know that because the NX69 plugs flow significantly better than the BT 2.0s, and there's no difference in like runtime between them. So, and the BT 2.0 was designed to not be a bottleneck. Go ahead, Kevin.
Gamehead Ariel says, can you blow a fan at a thrust stand to achieve the same effect? I can answer that. No. You will get closer, but you really, if you want to isolate variables, what you really have to do is build a wind tunnel.
Yep. And you have to have a variable speed wind tunnel too. Well, no, yep. I mean, I guess what all you really have to do, and 533 did this, they put the big jousting 465 mAh battery on a tiny whoop, and they flew it a 1.2 inch whoop, and they flew it next to a car, and they figured out that these guys will basically go. I think it was 40. It was either 30 or 40 miles an hour. So you need a wind tunnel that'll blow that the maximum speed. I mean, to be really accurate, you would have to test each individual tiny whoop, right? Like if I was going to put this in the wind tunnel, I would have to figure out exactly how fast this will travel through the air, and then that needs to be the incoming airspeed to do it. So yeah, it's tough to do that. This was a pretty rough data set tonight, especially because we didn't get RPM on these two. But I mean, the data that we got is interesting because we got 59,000 here on the direct soldered motors, and we got 59,000 here. But then we also got 56 and 56. These 56s are what I would expect to see. 3,000-ish less RPM from plugs, which we know cause some resistance over direct soldered. If you look at the run times, I guess I didn't get a runtime on that third one because it was all messed up with the thing resetting, but there's a definite difference in runtime. This, I think, much better tells the tale of plugs versus no plugs. This is awful short here. I think this and the last battery might have been jank. Well, the last battery I did pull off the charger before it said okay, so that would, I guess, make sense. But then when I put these two on a solid 4-volt power source, all 8 of these motors turned 64 and 65,000. That speaks to this right here. So it kind of feels like you're not necessarily sacrificing. Look, even if there is a 3,000 RPM difference here, plugs versus direct soldered, you're not going to notice that. None of us are going to notice a 3,000, the difference between 56,000 and 59,000 RPM, right? That percentage is, that's like a 1.5% difference. None of us are going to notice that. The runtime, okay, I can totally buy that. I can totally buy that we're going to see a little bit less runtime on the motor plugs. What's really weird is this 3 minutes and 3.5 minutes here. I have no explanation for this. But, yeah, if runtime really matters to you that much, okay, direct solder your motors and deal with the pain in the ass that is having direct soldered motors. Personally, I'll spend an extra $10, $15 on 1 or 2 extra batteries and run motor plugs, right? Like, we're not going to tell the difference, and we might with the contact. This is all without the contact enhancer, right? With the contact enhancer, this gap between them is going to shrink up, and so I'm still pretty hardcore run motor plugs. It's gonna be, Teddy, are you serious right now? It's gonna prevent you from having that moment where you're like, I'm not going to change this motor out because it's too much work and I don't want to strip everything else out on the build. It's going to literally save you time. It's going to encourage you to fly harder and crash more. It's going to be more serviceable if you go out somewhere, right? Like, the last thing you're going to want to do in the woods or at a bando is be using a soldering iron on a goddamn tiny whoop, right? Like, there are so many benefits to the motor plugs, and I'm just not seeing a big enough performance difference here to justify it. I think we had a battery that I pulled off the charger too early, which is where this 205 came from, right? This 2 minutes and 30 makes total sense. This 333 is a bit much, but this is a pretty good set of data here. So yeah, sure, okay, 30 more seconds of runtime, let's say, from direct soldered motors. We're getting 2 minutes and 30 seconds, 3 minutes out of these batteries. That's the difference between 1 extra battery, 2 extra batteries, right? Like, and so there you go. Buy a couple extra batteries and you've fixed the difference in runtime. And then a 3,000 RPM difference, that's that's nothing. For not a racer. For a racer, it's a no-brainer. But for the rest of us,
I think the math also changes a little bit if you, or the calculus. The calculus changes a little bit if you're flying not freestyle, right? If you're flying cinematic or hyper ranging, like you want,
or racing, right? Racing,
or
you're
racing,
hammering the
yeah.
hell out of the throttle the
Yeah.
whole time. Freestyle, we fly at 30% throttle and then burst full throttle.
Right. If you want to do the flippy flops, like you gotta figure out what your trade off is, what's your tolerance for solder versus plugs.
Yeah. And here I completely ignored the ending voltages too. The 2 minutes and 28 seconds, the ending voltage is 372. Look at 3 minutes, 369, 3 minutes and 14, 370, right? So like this 228 could have easily become 2 minutes 40 if I drain this battery down to 3.69 or 3.7.
Weren't you landing on 3.5 for all of them, which says that it's sagging harder?
Yeah,
if it
right.
mounts back up
we talked about last time I did this. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yep. So I don't know, man. I am not seeing a big enough difference, and I never have. I've never. This has been something that I've thought about for a long time. And I've just never seen enough of a difference to warrant all of the pains in the ass of having the motors direct soldered. The other thing that I didn't talk about is that every single time I have a direct soldered build, the plugs rip off at the solder joint. That does not happen with these motor plugs. And so I literally see more durability from having the motor plugs than the direct soldered motors. And again, durability, like what do you want to do? Do you want to fly or do you want to work on these things? I want to fly. And like when I have these builds on motor plugs, I spend significantly more time flying. And like that is way high on my personal list of what's important to me. And so, yeah, my opinion has not changed even a little bit.
Matt says we need better plugs. That's the real answer, and I agree.
But it's not going to happen. Every single motor currently being made is on these plugs. Every single AIO is on these plugs. These plugs are the right size. They're the right shape. We won't get different plugs. I don't think ever. I don't think we'll ever get different plugs.
I don't know. There's some of the stuff in the Surface RC world I could see us importing if they do stuff that small, but I just don't know.
Yeah. We did get a different plug. We got the JST 1.25 from Newbie Drone, and we saw how that worked. I tested that a couple weeks ago.
Well, those are even smaller, right?
Yep. That was a significant difference.
Yeah.
I actually, where's that? I think I still have that sticky note up here. Yeah. Here, wait, no, is that it? No, that's the NX69 test. Where's the other test? Yeah, here you go.
Game Hat says it's the coming in and land to swap batteries that annoying me. Long run times are great, and we're seeing 7 minutes on our 75mm builds. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Come in and land. It's annoying to have to come in every 2 minutes or whatever, 2.5 minutes. But the extra, 30 seconds that those are getting you?
Like, right. Yeah, it's in that scheme of things. It's yeah.
Now, I will say, if you're the kind of pilot where you need the extra 30 seconds to establish flow and feel comfortable, then yeah, do it all day long.
Yeah, I guess if you're doing your best flying at the very end of the battery, but I don't know anybody that's there, because the end of the battery, it's sagging the worst. You're getting the least amount of power, especially on 1S, right? And so like for me, it's that 30 seconds to get warmed up, and then you're doing good for about a minute, and then it starts flying worse. Yeah, here's big plugs versus small plugs. This is a much better set of data here. The small plugs make a significant difference over the full size plugs. It's yeah. The JST 1.0 plugs seem like they're big enough. I really do. I think they're big enough. Top tier racers, absolutely, they're gonna solder their stuff all day. Everybody else, I think the regular JST 1.0 plugs are plenty. Or no, 1.25, I guess they would be.
GameHat says, use a dab of E6000 that touches the AIO and the wire insulation. Haven't had a wire come off an AIO since then. Yeah, strain relief.
Yep. But then when the motor goes, what a pain in the ass. I mean, I guess peeling the E6000 off ain't that bad, but nothing is ever going to touch just swapping plugs.
You can use the stuff to waterproof conformal coating. You can also use that, and you can solder through. Well, not all conformal coating, actually. CiottiFPV was given on another stream last week was given a dissertation on what conformal you can solder through and what you can't. But
oh, interesting.
Anyway, yeah,
isn't that kind of the point of conformal coating, to be able to solder through it?
You have to, with the stuff that you can't solder through, you have to remove with some solvent. I don't even know that it was isopropyl. It might have.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, GameHat also says, but we have motor pads so they can be swapped.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it is really nice that the that the motors have the PCBs on them now. My God. I had a moment where with the 1404 motor, I was like, "Oh, I'll just solder a wire on it." Nope, only Tinyhawk motors have the PCBs on them on the stator. Nyafu with the last comment of the live stream: is KISS Ultra V3 as good as people suggest? Nope. All I hear about is it's just wow. You need to try it to know it, and I'm getting pretty tired of it. Nope. If it was that good, everybody would run it, and everybody runs Betaflight. This is a constant thing. This has been around for the entire 10 years that I've been into this hobby. KISS is more expensive, and it's more of a pain in the ass to set up, and there's way less information about it, which is the main reason that it's so much harder to set up. But if you pay more money for something and you spend a whole bunch more time setting it up, and if Steele Davis flies it, you better damn well believe that placebo is going to hammer your brain into thinking that it's better. You talk to the people that run KISS for a while, like myself, and then go back to Betaflight, and they will all tell you that Betaflight is just as good, if not better. They're both PID controllers. Betaflight has way more people working on it. Betaflight has had more people working on it for way more time. And so Betaflight has a ton of extra stuff. KISS is caught up a little bit, but Betaflight will always have more specific features in because there's more people working on it and there's more people flying it, right? Like KISS is a cult. And like it's totally fine. It's a PID controller just like Betaflight with some extra stuff added in. And it's better than it ever was. There was a while that KISS was like way worse than Betaflight. Like when Betaflight had early days of like RPM filtering and anti-gravity, KISS didn't have any of that stuff. And like Betaflight was way better. Here's the other thing that Mark Spatz proved like unequivocally with data. You can make, like people talk about the feel of KISS. KISS feels better. The footage looks better. It's more delay. That's all it is. And Mark Spatz shows this. So basically, KISS has more delay. And so it ends up with basically stick smoothing. And so like the feel, the look of KISS flight footage is what my flight footage looks like because I put a bunch of stick smoothing into Betaflight. So if you want Betaflight to look like KISS, do what I do. Use the on the preset, set it to cinematic or HD cinematic, and that'll add RC smoothing in, and then run your feed forward really low. That'll give you the look and the feel of KISS. What's nice about Betaflight is that if you want less latency, you can get that. You can turn your feed forward way up and then don't use those cinematic presets for ELRS 250 or 500 or whatever, right? Like KISS can't fly like Betaflight, but Betaflight can fly like KISS. And Mark Spatz shows that with Black Box, which is data, which you can't argue with. I don't care who flies KISS. Like, it's a cult. The end. Like, is it bad? No, it's great. but Betaflight is better. Always has been, probably always will be, right? KISS has like 1 or 2 devs working on it. Betaflight has 20 plus and has forever from all around the world.
So Nyafu just said,
and thousands of people fly Betaflight. Like 100 people fly KISS, not 100, but like, you know what I mean? Like there's just no way that KISS would be better just because of some magical magic.
Yapu says, so basically sunk cost fallacy and people not knowing how to set up their Betaflight to their needs. I mean, I will say this, it's different set of defaults. And if you just fly defaults, if you're like, I just want this to do the thing that feels good to me out of the box, then fine, go fly KISS. But like if you're willing to do any work, you can make Betaflight fly like KISS, and you should, because you will get an overall better tuned system out of it. Mark Spatz even promised at one point that he was going to produce a Betaflight preset that made Betaflight fly like KISS. I don't know if he ever actually followed up on that, but and that's a testament to the tunability of Betaflight. Yeah, sure, you might not like the really tight feeling of Betaflight out of the box once you tune it to the nth degree, but tune to what you want. Do you want it to feel like a racing quad? Like, you don't go, like, most people don't enjoy driving a race-tuned car every day. They want to drive something kind of cushy, is forgiving in the turns, doesn't just grab the road and you feel every bounce. But that's what you want when you're racing. You want something that feels stuck to the road and let you shred through a corner.
It's right? Literally response time. It's literally latency. Race cars have no rubber bushings because rubber bushings create latency and they kill response time. That's one of the biggest things that you do when building a race car is reduce latency so that you can react quicker, so that you feel the things quicker. Yeah, KISS is not better. It is different. For sure it's different. And if, like I've always said, if flying the same flight firmware that Steele Davis flies makes you feel good and it makes you feel like you're flying like him, that might make you fly better, right? Like, our brains are fucked up and that's fine. But like, I got to tell you, man, the time that I spent with KISS was a nightmare. It was way harder to use. Like, a lot of the information out there about KISS is like, oh, well, try this. It's always like, try this. We'll just try this. Nobody seems to have any solid answers. It's like, well, just try this setting. And that's just insane for me. That's maddening for me. But then, like, you try this and it doesn't work. And then you got to go look it up again. Oh, we'll try this. And then you try that. It was really frustrating. And it was like, it was so much more expensive. And like, I thought it was going to be the thing. I was flying a lot of 5-inch. I was starting to get good. And I was like, oh, this is going to be the thing, man. Steele says it's so good. It was right around the time that I was getting ready to move to Atlanta. I'm like, this is gonna be great. And I put like 6 months into it, and it just sucked. It was just such a bad experience. But like, when I was in it, I was like, no, man, it's worth it. This is gonna be great. This is it. Obviously, it's better. If this guy flies it, it must be better. And I go back to Betaflight. I'm like, wow, that was a waste of time. So, yeah, I don't know. Fly what you want. Like, if it makes you feel good, do it, but it's certainly not better. The whole like, I switched to it and it's so much better. It's just like, be careful of the people that say that. Like, they're not, they're stuck in placebo, and placebo is a real thing, and like, I get it, but like, the people who are open-minded and who don't get stuck with, who are willing to like take a step back and look at things like holistically, they're the ones that come out of that cult and go like, oof, yikes. Thanks for hanging, friends. Thanks for joining me, Kevin.
You're welcome.
I'll see you guys on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. I don't know if we learned anything tonight, but motor plugs for life, friends. And broken G473s. I'm sad about this. I'll see what I can find out from Kelvin from Happy Model. Welcome to FPV, friends. I'll see you guys Wednesday. Be good. Here comes some more of my frame with 1405 motors and DJI O4. Oh no, hey, actually, here is the analog build. Here's me smashing the analog build practically to death. Hold on. 14, 13. Where's that analog flight foot? Yeah, look how hard these hits are. This thing took these 2 hits, and like there's barely a mark on it. Here you guys go. Everybody likes crashes. Bye-bye!
Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy spaghetti's fur flies and jet wash dreams. Yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Big fuzz and prop spin all tangled in place. Yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed. They zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah. Soddy's on sticks, Teddy's on paws. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight. Fuzz, fuel, fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah. Yo, Soddy behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle Mike. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive, Teddy. Push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in, Teddy. Yeah, let's rip this loop, ride the roar of the wind, Teddy. Yep. Yeah, CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Teddy Spaghetti. Barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, when you hear that bar cut the rotor hum, you know Ciotty and Teddy's mission's just begun. FPV's fur-faced legends sing it loud. Yeah, Teddy Spaghetti and CiottiFPV always proud.